Hey everyone, welcome to Saturday's long episode. It's a little bit of a different episode where I'll look more in depth at some of the techniques that I teach my students in order to bring up their IELTS test scores in the speaking test, but also just to improve their English generally. This episode is talking on something I discuss a lot, and I just wanted to look at it a little bit more deeply today, and that's stress and intonation. Stress and falling intonation. Something that I used to note a lot as a teacher and when I was an examiner was people would talk like this, they would keep going up at the end of a sentence, and it's quite repetitive, and that could go on for a large amount of the test. I completely understand why it happens. When we're nervous, when we're worried that our English isn't correct, our intonation goes up as if we're asking at the same time, is this right? Now, that's fine, but if you're aiming for a high score, if you're aiming for success with English, you need to get over that. And the best way is just repetition and practice. I often talk about practice till you get it right, and then keep going till you can't get it wrong. And that's really the most important thing about this, is it's easy to know that it's wrong, but it's hard to do it correctly in the moment if you don't practice. Even when you do practice, you might still make mistakes occasionally. And so that's really why I say until you can't get it wrong. A lot of people will get something correct one time and think that the work is done, but really it's only beginning. So we'll look at a few things that I've talked about over the last 6 weeks in this daily show. So we'll look at some of the different grammar and organization techniques that I've talked about here and show you how to practice. A couple of days ago, we used the technique, it's not that, it's that. And so this is a different way of saying but. So if we were talking about sports, as I did in the example, it's not that I like Barcelona, it's that I don't want Madrid to win. Or I might say, it's not that I like New York, it's that I don't want Boston to win. So again, here I would add stress and fall. A little simple technique is stress repetitive words. I know a lot of English teachers talk about keywords. I would also recommend stressing repetitive words. So in that sentence, it's not that I like New York, it's that I don't want Boston to win. So I could say, it's not that I like New York, it's that I don't want Boston to win. And that's fine, that's correct. Another way would be to say, it's not that I like New York, it's that I don't want Boston to win. So again, I stress that organizing word. It's not that, it's that. It's not that I like New York, it's that I don't want Boston to win. So again, those negative words, those repetitive words, very, very predictable words. If you add stress there, then you can fall. And of course, you can mix that up. It's not that I like New York, it's that I don't want Boston to win. That works as well. I would generally recommend practicing the repetitive words because that's where, you have some control. You don't know what the topic will be, but you do know how you're going to organize your ideas. That's one thing you can practice a lot. Another example might be that I have not really seen Sydney, and I've been living in Australia for 6 years. So I might say, it's not that I don't want to see Sydney, it's that I don't have the time. So again, any topic that comes up, these words are quite common, quite repetitive. Learn how to stress those words. Another common one is it depends on the situation, and I often teach if, but if. So let's just take a question like, what is the best way to learn a language, all right? It depends on the situation. So I stress that word, it depends on the situation. And then I follow it with if. So if I'm living in the country where they speak the language, then I would get out, I would speak it more, I would interact with people. But if I'm living in a country where they don't speak the language, then I might read more, listen more. It depends on how busy I am and what I have time for. So again, if, If I don't live in that country, then I would just do more reading and listening using the internet or using books. Again, I stress that repetitive word, if, don't. Let's take another very repetitive one. If you're talking about different people's opinions, I think most people, but personally. So again, very predictable. Do you think that people enjoy going to movie theaters? So you might say, well, I think most people still enjoy going to the movies, and explain why. And then you might say, some people I still think would rather just stay home, or some people can't stand going to the movies. Or you could say, personally, I don't like it. So again, some people, most people, personally. That allows you to use word stress and make your answers more dynamic. And one of the most common things I remember hearing and in speaking tests and seeing a lot in writing, on the one hand, on the other hand. Again, perfectly correct. Use it absolutely in your speaking test, but stress it well. On the one hand, on the other hand. So let's take a topic like, why don't people read the newspaper as much as they did in the past? And there's many reasons for that. So I might start by saying, on the one hand, I think people are busier today. They're more distracted and they're constantly reacting to things that are happening around them. On the other hand, I think people are trusting the news less. And then I might go on and explain that. You probably saw I didn't just stress those words. On the one hand, on the other, I stressed other words. But the thing is, I can control and practice stressing words that are showing organization. And then I can just relax and let my natural word stress come out. Anyway, you can absolutely stress keywords. It's totally correct, but I would also advise look at repetitive words. If, don't, not, on the one hand, on the other hand, if. All of those words can also be stressed. And that's something that's a bit more predictable, and I would recommend practicing that as you get ready for your IELTS speaking test. Thanks, everyone. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed that. Please let me know if you have any other questions or other topics you'd like to see in these videos. Put them down there in the comments. And as always, remember, language is a habit. That's why you get these videos every day, and I hope you get a little bit of practice every day. Remember, you want to practice until it's right, and then keep going till you can't get it wrong, and I'll see you back here soon.